to reflect on your work so that you can improve. If you feel you did badly, it's only a problem if you do badly again next time, all right, because you ignored things. All right, so, and everyone in here has something to work on for next time, what they wrote. So that's super important. All right, so what we've got to do, this was fine, wasn't it, guys? You're all good with this? Yeah. Ratio of hot dogs eaten to prize money. Can you tell me what the ratio are? Jackson?
Joey Chestnut was 72 to 10,000. Carmen Kinclotty was 60 to 5,000. Matt Stoney was 48 to 2,500. Miki Sudo was 41 to 10,000. Michelle Lesko was 32.5 to 5,000. And Sonia Thomas was 30 to 2,500.
Okay, I think pretty much everyone got that, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, I did have one with solutions. I think actually some ones I wrote the answers on. All right, so then it says simplify these ratios. So this was a common mistake. So just remind me what Joey Chestnut's unsimplified one was again. 72 to... Okay.
His simplified, can I say?
Let's give other people. Sure. Yes, go. So this simplified to 9 to 1,250. All right? How do you get that? Do you all know how to get it?
Yeah.
No? Well, the rest of you can explain.
I divided by 8.
Right, so what's important when you simplify a ratio, guys, is that when you divide by something, you have to divide both numbers by the same thing. You can't go, well, I'm going to divide the one on the left by 2 and I'm going to divide the one on the right by 10. All right? Can't do that. So what do we divide by? So 72 is 9 multiplied by 8. So if I divide by 8, okay, I get 9 and 1,250. Does that go any further? No? So no. I think the problem on your calculator, I showed you how to use your calculator to simplify, but I don't think this one worked, did it?
No.
No, it's just the calculator wouldn't deal with these numbers.
Neither did the other
Would it deal with 9 to 1,250?
Yeah.
So, okay, did you see that that was a simple, it wouldn't change that?
Yes.
Yeah? So you can always try. I could try just dividing by 2 both sides until I can't anymore. And I could have done that 4 times. Alright? What would I try dividing by at this stage? Yeah? 3. Try dividing by 3, and I'd have tried that, but 1,250 doesn't divide by 3, does it?
No.
Does anyone remember the divisibility rules? I'm doing them one now, so you've done it. How do you know if a number can divide by 3? Yeah? No, there's something about the numbers in the digits in the number, isn't there? If you can divide it by 3.
I think it's either 3.
Something for you to look up. It helps. Right? It helps in this situation. All right?
6.
Yeah, but you're telling me the time. So, for instance, if I said to you, does 2,758 divide by 3? Say no. Big number. Anyway, something for you to look up. Right. What about Carmen then? What was her full one? David? 3 to 250, yeah? Matt? Nico?
12 to 625.
12 to 625, do we agree?
Yep.
Looking at yours, and, yeah, because I think I've written the correct answers in everyone's page, yeah?
Yeah.
And then Mickey?
41 to 10,000.
41 to 10.
It couldn't simplify by anything.
Now, one of these, which one had the 32.5 in it?
Ooh,
Michelle, let's go.
Michelle?
Let's go.
Oh, yeah, something.
Yeah, sorry.
So Michelle was 32.5 to what originally?
5,000.
5,000, right. So this was confusing for some people. Alright, how do I get from there to the simplified one? Yeah? So multiply by 2, we can try that, and then we get 65 and 10,000. That gets rid of the decimal, and then you divide in that case. And when you divide, you get, what do you divide by? What's the correct answer for this one? 13 and, pardon? 2,000. Okay. Now, just to say, because I know one person had lots of what they would think as the most simple. Everything was 1 to something. But a simplified ratio is like a simplified fraction. It should not have any decimals in it. Right? We did talk about ratios that can go down to, if I divide by 13, I get 1 to something, yeah? Now that is, you would say, is a very useful ratio, but it's not what we would call in simplified form. Right. What about Sonia? Pardon? 3 to 250. Okay. All right. So that's the ratios. Has anyone got any questions on how you would simplify those, or are we all good? All good? Right. Let's talk fractions. How do you get the fractions? More than one of you got this, right? Well, if your ratio is the simplest, your fraction's super easy. It's just...
Isn't the same thing? 1,250.
Yeah, this is 9, 1,250, 3, 250, 12, 625. Okay. This is 41 over 10,000. It's 13 over 2. So a lot of people had follow through here because their ratios were incorrect or not simplified, but they did just take those two numbers and create a fraction. So that's why you got credit for that. Alright? Please stop banging. Okay. All good. So you take these two numbers, you do them. Now you must remember what I said about those fractions there. You've got to consider the thing. Consider the context in which it's in. Alright? Alright. Decimal. How do you get the decimal from a fraction? You don't multiply. Remember, the question is how, not what's the answer.
I
Don't know.
put the decimal point 1.
Yeah, but that only works for yours.
Oh,
So pay attention now.
then I don't know.
You divide 9 by...
You divide, don't you? So this, lots of people say 9 over 1,250, but it's actually 9 divided by. So we should do 9 divided by 1,250, and the correct answer is?
0.0072.
Oh, sorry.
0.0065.
0.0065. Some people round it. I don't know why. What was your reason for rounding?
I have no idea.
Did you? Is that the right answer there?
I got 72 correct.
Yes, but don't forget, I may well have given you it because, let's just check. Right. Let's do 9 divided by 1,250, and I get the correct answer is actually 0.0072.
72.
Oh, am I looking at the wrong one?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I got that one correct. Never mind.
0.0072. What's 3 divided by 250?
0.12. Yeah, no, hold on.
That?
You mean
No.
No?
0.01. Yeah, I was on the wrong.
0.012. Should we just check? 3 divided by 250 is 0.012. Okay. 12 divided by 625 is 0. 192. Okay.
I got the decimal. Line because.
Again, some people, if you got your fractions wrong, but your decimal matched your fraction, then you got the follow through. Yes.
My calculator just says 192, even though it's not saying like.
So it's in a funny mode. We need to sort that out. That's why, you didn't have your calculator for a number of lessons because you didn't bring it with you. That's where we can sort that out. We don't want to have it first time in assessment. That's
No, I read it like 2 weeks earlier.
well, we would have sorted that out. Maybe it wasn't while we were doing this. Maybe we didn't spot it. These ones, that's why you got this. Jackson, stop looking down your pen. It's on video now, like a telescope. We're on YouTube. Me telling you off. 41 divided by 10,000. That's going to be 0.0041. Right, so when it's divided by 1,000 or 10,000 or something, it's nice and simple, right? It looks like the decimal point move, but that's not what we do. We do 41 divided by 10,000. All right, now again, I'm just going to fill this table in before I go into the next one. How do you convert the decimal to the percentage?
Times it by 100.
Times it by 100. So we should have 0.0072 multiplied by 100, and we get
0.72%.
that's percentage. This will be 1.2%. This will be 1.92%. This will be 0.%. Okay? Right, what's the decimal for 13 divided by 2,000?
0.0065.
0.0065, which is then 0.65%. 3 divided by 2, that 150 is?
0.012.
Again? So that's another 1.2%. Right, now one thing I have to mention, that there was no follow-through mark for this one, if you used that ratio. Because if you put 32.5 divided by 5,000 as a fraction, what's wrong with that? You cannot have a decimal in a fraction, because a decimal is a fraction. Alright? Have to sort that out. So even if you'd have just doubled it, if you'd have put 65 divided by 10,000 to get rid of the decimal, I'd have given you a follow-through, fine for that. But you can't have credit, alright? You cannot have credit for having decimals in fractions. Nico, did you have a question? Alright, all good? Now this is where things get important then. Alright. Which representation from question 2 is most useful? So, a lot of people can give me what they think is most useful, but their explain their answer is not very good. Okay? Right, let me pause so we can do this. When you're doing criterion D, you must think about the context you're in. You're in a hot dog eating contest, so when it says which one is most useful, really you should be referring to get the top grades to something about the hot dog eating competition. Alright? All good? Can we move on? Alright. Winners only, but for the duration of the competition. So some people didn't spot that it was the duration, and some people didn't read about the duration. So only the winners. So who was the first winner? Joey.
No, it was Taco.
Well, what are the 3 winners? Joey. And what?
Taco.
Right. What was Joey's ratio of hot dogs? He was 72.
To 10.
How was Mickey? What did Mickey get?
41.
How much? 41 hot dogs eaten. And Tack ate 53.75. Now the question is, how long did Joey have?
12.
10.
Yeah.
Joey, look.
Joey had 10, right?
What is
Get in it wrong.
This is where we have to read the information.
Lasted 10 minutes.
Right? In 2006 it was 12, so Tack had 12 minutes, but then it changed to 10 minutes.
So Joey Chestnut had 10 and Miss Sue had 10.
So Joey had 10, Mickey had 10,
And
Tack had
12.
12. Fractions again, right? We could leave it as 72 divided by 10, 41 divided. Now, in this case, you did ask, does it have to be simplified? I said, unless it says so, you don't have to. But if you hadn't shown you could simplify before, but again, it doesn't ask to be simplified, but what must I do for this one? There is, I would not get a mark, or there's no marks, but no credit for doing that.
You can't have a decimal in a fraction.
So what do we
You
do?
have to times it by 100 because the decimal point is 2.
You could times it by 100. So that would be 5375 over 1200, but we could try and simplify that. Or you could just multiply it by something else, but you need to, whatever you want to do, get rid of the decimal. Alright? But then we turn them into decimals. So this one is 7.2, 4.1, and
53.75. No, 4.479.
I was going to say it's definitely not 50. That doesn't make any sense
It's
whatsoever.
4.479.
4.479. Okay? Then we convert into percentages. So 720%.
Then 410, and then 537.
No, the decimal, remember? We timed by 100.
Oh yeah, I looked at my wrong answer.
Yeah. Times by 100 gets us the percentage. Alright. Now, when you do these criterion D, alright, you're supposed to be developing, so I hope you're good with making the paper aeroplane rather than writing down the notes. Which representation makes Joey's chestnut world record most visible?
Oh,
You done?
No, I just had a question.
Okay. Good. What's your question? Hang on, let me...
It's about questions.
Let's go through this quickly then. We should be developing which representation makes Joey's world record most visible. Again, it's Nico.
Probably the fraction, because
Okay. But the problem with that is, I would say, is Tack did 54 almost, but had longer. Alright? So that, I guess, is clear. You should compare those. Not as many longer time. Alright? So you could see.
It kind of all looks the same.
Well, I think we, like Samuel said, decimal's most useful, but do you not think the decimal and the percentage, or percentage is the decimal, but written as a percentage? Do people understand?
Yeah, I understand.
You understand? Okay. So I would say, guys, too many of you have got little things. Use your blue highlighter. You shouldn't be sharing highlighters at the moment. Right, you all got your own. Now, whatever you use, but it should make it, whichever one you decide to use, it should be saying, because whatever thing you use, you've got to say it's clear how much more Joey ate in the time than the others. So Joey's percentage is 720% compared to 410%. You could have said 7.2 compared to 4.1, great. If you'd have said the fraction, you say, right, the numerator is much bigger than the denominator compared to the other ones. All right, whatever, but you need a good explanation. Yeah?
Can I hear my answer?
Sorry, I don't think we need to. I think everyone's got what we need from that, yeah? Now the important one for me was here. Because I think pretty much I got to this point, and quite often when you're marking assessments, the last page is where a teacher goes, oh, no, close it, next one, no, close it, next one, no, close it, next one, you know. You're looking for something, but often it's that, now you guys did, it wasn't edited, but, you know, get this done super quick. Use a ratio to show that the results could have been. Alright, how they could have been different. And this is important. Not met, well, some people, sorry, I'm going to go through it, Dexter, thank you, just be a bit quicker. Alright, at this stage. Show that the results could have been different. Make sure that you use a ratio. So, what most people did was say, right, let's look at hot dogs to weight. Okay?
Oh yeah,
That's what we were looking at. So, use the results of 2006 and you'll see the extra thing, the weight is in there. So that was the clue. So TAC was 53.75 to 58. And then Joey was 52 to 104, so he's a bit bigger. And then Sonia was 37 to 44, right? So if we write those as fractions, okay, we would do 107 over 116 to get rid of the decimal. This would just be 52 over 104 and 37 over 44. If we convert those into percentages, could you do that now for me? Do it now, get your calculators out. This is where it says use a ratio. So TAC was first, second and third here. What's the percentage for 107 out of 116? 0.9. So that's 92%. Joey? So that's 50%. So that's 84%. So what does that mean? That means TAC ate 92% of his body weight in hot dogs. Nico, stay focused. I know it's hard for sometimes. Okay? You have to. You're learning about things. TAC, 92% of his body weight. Joey, only 50% of his body weight. Sonia, 84%. So the question is, how could they have been different? Well, basically, TAC would have still been first, but Joey would have actually been third, and Sonia would have been second. They would have swapped because Sonia ate less, but compared to her body weight, she ate more than Joey. Joey is a bigger guy. Sonia is a smaller woman. All right? Don't go to sleep, Sammy. All this is on the video. It's going to be on YouTube. All right? It will be. It's going to be all over YouTube, just like Liverpool getting thrashed.
Is this the camera on the smartphone?
So, the difference, this question, guys, make sure your ratio clearly demonstrates why I've shown, using what I've got, that actually TAC would have still won, but Sonia would have come second and Joey only third. Would this be a fair way to determine the winner that include both genders? Again, people try to answer that, all right, but not really specific. Now, there's not many right answers, well, lots of right answers. And the right answers would be, no, most of them don't. You could have said, no, I don't think it's fair. I think you should win based on the number that you eat. Nothing to do with your weight. If you want to win a competition, eat more, practice more, put on weight. That could have been your reason. Yeah? Your reason is, fair playing field, you are who you are, you eat what you eat. Done. Yeah? Or you could have said, yes, I think actually men and women should be separate. I don't think it's fair that women who generally are smaller than men should be compared in the same way. Therefore, alright, if you're going to put men and women in the same competition, you compare to weight. So Tristan, you've packed up already, so you're not going to write any of that down. I know it's time, but you have now packed away before you have had the chance to improve on your result. Alright? But that's it, guys. I would say the problem with justify your answer, Nico, you've just been silly all lesson. Alright? Did that work?
Yeah.
Everyone understands?
Yeah.
Good. I am going to ask you, please,